We have a major problem with how we ramp new account executives. Your new AEs are being declared ramped at 3 or 6 months, but can they actually run discovery or execute the sales process without you jumping in to save them? Most can't, and that's the problem. Most sales teams ramp reps based on time in seat and not capability-based onboarding where you certify your new sellers. So I built a playbook full of frameworks, implementation roadmaps, and infrastructure guides that cut ramp time in half and have proven to improve win rates by 75%, and it's completely free. So stop this episode right now and go and download the Sales Readiness Playbook at therevenueenabler.com or use the link in the description below. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. Let's get the chat going, shall we? Let me know in the comments where you guys are dialing in from. Whereabouts in the world are you? All right, cool. So looks like a bunch of people have turned up. Cool. So the agenda for today, and if it wasn't clear in the communications that we sent out, I know we pushed this out across lots of different channels, LinkedIn, our newsletter, podcast, WhatsApp groups, that kind of stuff. The goal for today is just to talk about how we can be leveraging AI in sales in 2026, and just some of the ways that I'm using it in our business and some of the people that we work with are using it. We do a lot of this with customers now. So anyone that's worked with me, because I know there's a bunch of customers in the chat, but also people that maybe follow me on LinkedIn, we go out and we work with sales organizations to help them optimize and modernize sales skills and ultimately drive performance. We've been doing this for 2 years. I have this saying, like, nobody gets a degree in B2B sales. Majority of us don't my son, I've got a 2-year-old son. He's not walking over to me and saying, Daddy, I want to be a salesperson. He wants to be he loves Fireman Sam or Paw Patrol. He wants to be do those kind of jobs. He doesn't think about being a salesperson, but most of us stumble into it. And most organizations don't have the capacity or capability to train people and run thorough programs that really change behaviors. So we kind of go out and do a lot of that work. And some of the work that we're now seeing is organizations are being pushed to increase revenue, but keep the headcount. And this is where AI can be really powerful to help not automate things, but improve the quality of sales execution. How do we actually deliver a better experience, a better sales process for our prospects to help increase conversion rates? So some of you have got access to like my business case builder or discovery coach or whatever it might be. I'm going to kind of take you through some stuff today that will hopefully help you, if you're a sales leader listening to this, put it into your role and help it, roll these out with your team. Or if you're a sales rep listening and you don't get the help that you need, maybe you can implement some of this stuff in your day-to-day to help you improve the quality of execution, hit your revenue goals, and ultimately earn more money and get promoted. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And as I do that, I'm just going to drop this into the chat as well. So again, I know a bunch of you have downloaded this, but over the Christmas period, it was nice and quiet for me. So I was able to get one of these big kind of projects done that I've been working on for ages. And I basically built this playbook around sales readiness. And ultimately, the goal is how do we get our sellers more effective and like ramp them faster? And the problem that I see in a lot of organizations, and I saw it when I was a VP, is we typically define ramp based on time in seat, not based on capability and evidence of that capability. So I built a playbook to help with that. It's free. Just download it if you want to. There's the page that it's hosted on. You'll find there's the link to the podcast and our newsletter and stuff on there as well if you guys haven't checked that out. But I'll leave that in the comments. Okay, cool. So normally I'll be rolling and doing these with Matt as well, who's our marketing director. But today it's just me riding solo. So I will keep an eye on the chat as we go through, but it's going to be on a different monitor. So if I'm a bit slow answering your questions, don't worry, I will come back to it. I'll also save time at the end so I can just make sure that we go through it and answer any questions that you've got as we go. Okay, cool. So let me share my screen and we can get on with today. So the first thing I'm going to share with you guys is something I actually learned while I was interviewing somebody on the podcast. So where's my screen? There we go. Share screen, share window, this window. Okay, cool. All right, fantastic. So let me know in the comments, guys, have any of you heard of a website called Prompt Cowboy before? If you listen to my podcast, you've probably heard me talk about it. But if you don't listen to the podcast, have any of you heard of Prompt Cowboy before? And have any of you used it before? Let me know in the comments. Nope. Negative. No. New to me. No. Cool. I love it. I think there's a big unlock for us with using AI by using AI to help us use AI. So these guys have been really, really clever with their approach. So what they do is basically they call our just like normal human beings who aren't prompt engineers, they call our prompts lazy prompts. So for example, I open up ChatGPT and I'm a content marketer and I type in there, write me a 2,000 word blog on sales forecasting, and I hit enter, it's going to be garbage. Or if I'm an SDR and I want to book more meetings over email, I say, write me an email to the VP of sales at IBM. It's going to be garbage. It's going to, there's going to be rocket ship emojis in the subject line. It's going to say, Dear John, I hope you're well and business is booming, right? Because it lacks context. And so what these guys have done is they've basically said, hey, you dump your basic prompt into here, into the search box. And then what we'll do is we'll just restructure it into like a consultant level prompt and we'll run that. So let's just say, for example, write me a 2,000 word blog on sales. Oh, nice typos on forecasting. There we go. So like that's what I would have, obviously I wouldn't, but like that's what most people would put into Chat GPT. And then what it's done is it's basically taken that and it's rewriting that entire prompt to help me get a better outcome. And then over here on the right hand side, it's almost like it's like AI coaching. It's like, hey, do you have any examples? Who's your target audience? So I put in here like SVP, CROs, VPs of sales, they have low attention spans. They don't want all of the stories. They want us to get straight to value fast, build authority, that kind of, I'd feed it with that. And then it would rewrite and improve that prompt. And then I click the copy button and it says, hey, do you want to go to ChatGPT, Claude, or like whatever AI model you're using? I copy paste that over and like maybe just something for you guys to do after today, like go and run it night and day. So much better. And then you can just keep prompting it off the back of that. So yeah, a big learning for me 2 years ago when I quit my job to start this business and I wanted to I didn't want to hire a load of people and be really efficient. I just started using AI to help me use AI to help me close my kind of skill and knowledge gap. Now I'm pretty good at prompting. But sometimes I'm just like, why do I need to sit there and come up with like the situation, the task, the objective, the knowledge? What I'll do now is I'll just give it the knowledge. So like I'll sit there and just think about what I actually want to communicate or what I want to do. And then I'll drop it into here and I'll have this to structure it in like 10, 15 seconds. So really, really cool tool, promptcowboy.ai. Highly recommend that you use it. Like I think it's free. I've never had to pay for it. I have it open pretty much most days. I actually went out and bought a third monitor the other day. And it's like my AI monitor. The only thing that goes on there is ChatGPT, Claude, or Prompt Cowboy. So yeah, highly recommend that you check it out, give it a go, use it. I don't think you have to pay. If you do, I've not had to. So yeah. Okay, cool. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is inside of ChatGPT. So again, another question for you guys into the chat. How many of you guys know the difference between a project and a custom GPT? And do you recognize that language, projects and custom GPTs? And has anyone built a project or has anyone built a custom GPT yet? Okay, bit of a mix. A project is a group of chats. Okay, cool, Craig. Yeah, good. Okay, so the way that I see projects is ongoing engagements. So, for example, I'm launching a 6-month training program with a customer. I'll create a project because I want to use that over the 6 months or the 12 months or whatever it is that we're doing that work. And I want it just to become more and more intelligent over time to help me deliver a better project for the customer. And then a custom GPT is something I want to use more transactionally. For example, I'm going to help you guys build one today. But imagine I wanted to make a cold call right now and I didn't want to spend 20 minutes doing research. I would use my rapid research custom GPT where it'd give me that context fast in like 10 seconds. And then I would but I would only use it that one time, and then I'd use it again for a different customer. So I wouldn't want to build up its knowledge base. So that's kind of how I understand them. So the reason I want to share this with you guys today is, some of you guys might be using, revenue intelligence tools. Some of you might not have the budget or access to that kind of technology. You might be a sales rep and that's out of your control. What you can do is start to use AI to help you kind of do some of this stuff. So projects is a really good example. Let's say I was running a sales process with, I don't know, cybersecurity company, and I'm trying to get a deal over the line, and I want to use AI to help me do that. And then this is an actual use case in our business because, I'm the product. So big part of my business and scaling it is I can't like spend my life doing all the manual work because I need to go out to London and spend the day with the team that I'm working with or whatever it might be. So what I do inside of here, as soon as I come off a discovery call, I'll come into ChatGPT, I'll click create new project, and I'll call it the Revenue Enabler Plus ABC Limited. And then I'll go to my call recording tool, I'll download the transcript, save it as a PDF, and I will upload it into the file section. And I'll call it Discovery Transcript. And I'll upload it into here. You can also put some instructions and be like, hey, I want you to act as my virtual AI sales coach and support me in driving this deal through to a closed one, whatever context you want to give it. And then what I then recommend doing is uploading like your medic qualification cheat sheet, or the way that you score deals, the way that you qualify deals, exit criteria for your sales process, your sales stages, email template. So I'll upload a discovery follow-up template or a pre-demo template or a business case template. I'll upload all of these files into here. And all you need to do is just go to your, download them onto your computer, save them in a file, and just drag them across to speed this thing up. And then what you're doing is you're creating this like what good looks like hub. And then every time I want to ask a question, like, I don't know, I want to send a follow-up email after a discovery call, I just come in and say, using the transcript called discovery call, write a follow-up email using template 123 and take the context or use the context from the transcripts. And I hit enter, and within like 5 seconds, it basically does it all for me. I'm not going to say it's copy paste, but it's like 90% ready to go. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit, probably remove those bloody M dashes that it puts everywhere. But it's almost close to go because it has the context. And that's where a lot of people get it wrong with AI, is it lacks context. You have to give it the context first, and then actually it does run it pretty well. Another use case would be, okay, now we've had our third meeting. I've uploaded all 3 meetings. We are now getting ready to pitch the business case to the economic buyer. Can you help me build a business case? And then you say, look at all of the 3 transcripts, and then use our CFO ready business case template that we use to teach sales organizations. Can you use this template to build it? And in 30 seconds, it writes it. We did it in London with a team last Wednesday, and like jaws dropped. Unbelievable. And like, yes, there's still a little bit of tweaking, but I've probably saved myself a bunch of time, and also like probably not done a very good job in the first place because they can be quite complex in cases. And it's done it for me really, really quickly. And then finally, if I'm prepping for a forecast call and I'm a sales rep, I can come in here and say, I work in a sales organization. We use Medic or MedPick as our qualification and our forecasting framework. Where's the biggest risk with this deal, and why should I or should I not commit it? And it will look at all of the transcript. You can put some emails in there if you want to, and it'll give you the risk. And that's cool. Like, my point of view is there's risk in any deal until there's dry ink on the paperwork. So I want to know about it as soon as possible. As that classic saying goes, bad news takes time to travel uphill. I want to get ahead of that so I can mitigate that risk and drive this deal to the finish line and stop it from slipping. So yeah, just a really nice way of using projects is to just get better insights or just be able to do things a bit faster with active open deals. So yeah, I hope that helps. Any questions you guys have got, just let us know in the comments. For sure. Cool. Right, custom GPT. So as I mentioned, projects are good for like ongoing longer term engagements. Like if you're a CSM, it'd be good to use it for like ongoing relationship management. I use them for our programs when we're working with sales organizations. Just get creative and think like, how could I use projects versus a custom GPT? Do I have a preferred transcript tool? Not really. Like personally, I've used Gong a bunch of times where I'm a Gong partner. Some of my customers use Jiminy, get really good value from that. Some customers use Fathom. Some are even using like some of the free ones from like Notion and things like that. As long as you kind of put into the back end of all of this stuff into the knowledge base, like what good looks like, most will be good enough. Okay, cool. So custom GPTs. So we use these when we're working with sales organizations. I've also got some customers that make these for their customers as a way of like standing out, lead magnets, ways of building value through the sales process. Like some of you will know because you followed me for a while. My first VP job, I was building a sales organization that was selling HR software to VPs of HR and HR directors. Unfortunately, we didn't have ChatGPT back then, but I would have built things like OKR builders where like they can give this to their managers to build out OKRs for their teams, or how to structure one-on-ones for specific, types of people in their team or whatever it might be. So just think about like custom GPTs are like transactional things that I want to just use over and over and over again, but I don't really need to store historical chats inside of its brain. So this one's called rapid research. So we give this to like SDRs when they're doing cold calls or cold outbound. We give it to AEs if they want to do like quick, as it says in the name, rapid research before a discovery call, or whatever it might be. Okay, so really simple. I'll show you kind of how it works. You just click let's get started. I'm going to show you how to build this exact one in just a second. So it asks me for the job title and the company. So I'm just going to use one of my customers. So we'll go head of sales, and then we'll go sep2.security. And basically what I've asked it to do in the back end is answer this question. What would be hard about being that job title at that company right now? And the reason I think this is so important is like if I go to my HubSpot right now, and I mean, I'm lucky that, we've built such a good brand on LinkedIn and authority that we get pretty much all of our revenue comes from inbound or referrals. But if I had to go outbound, the field that I've got in HubSpot at the account level is why should we contact this company now? And the why and the now is in capitals to really emphasize like why, what are we seeing that's happening inside of that organization or in their industry that warrants us putting all of our time and effort into this account now? I do think we've kind of lost our way in sales these days where because we can automate stuff, we just lean into that versus back in the day. I know there's a bunch of you guys in the chat here who have been, in sales for like me 10, 15, 20 years. Back in the day, like I used to drive around industrial estates when I was selling telco, and I would literally just look at that building and go, that's a big building. They've probably got lots of people inside of it. My hypothesis, they've probably got 50 phones in there. I can sell them a 50 phone system, PBX. I'll go back and key that into the database. Like, I think we have lost our way a little bit in like doing that research and building a point of view, building an account hypothesis and communicating that out so that we can really cut through the noise and grab their attention and book a meeting. But again, we don't want to spend hours doing that stuff with our salespeople. So this is a really good kind of bridge to doing that. So in this case, it's come back and said, what's hard about being head of sales at Sep2 right now? Balancing high velocity growth with strategic selling, navigating technical complexity and long sales cycles, winning against larger competitors without big brand muscle, classic AI, aligning sales with rapid product and service innovation, scaling revenue. So this is really good, and it's helped me do some positioning. And then because this chat here has the context now, I could now go and say, hey, based on our sales team training page on our website, and I could put it in, help me connect, point number 4 to what we do with other sales organizations based on the context on this page. And I've attached a PDF of what best practice looks like. And it would write that email for me, or it'd write that opening cold call script for me, or it'd give me the opening talk track for a discovery call. Or I could say here, based on point number 3, write me 3 questions I can ask the potential champion about business metrics if I'm a medic seller, right? Or help me, based on what I sell, help me build 3 or 5 decision criteria items that would help me differentiate early in the sales process and rig the game. So as long as you've got the context in the chat window here, just based on a simple prompt of job title, company, website, you can just re-prompt it and kind of give it that more context there. So really, really simple. We've got ones like this called Discovery Coach, which is great. Like on Monday, we did 3 reinforcement sessions with the cohorts we're running at the moment, and we literally just got reps to take the discovery transcript straight out of Gong or their call recording tool, dump it into our discovery coach, and it uses my scorecard I used to use manually when I was coaching reps when I was a leader. And in 15 seconds, it scores the entire call, shows them where they did a really good job, and then builds like a mini coaching plan for them over the next 30 days to close those critical skill gaps. We've got some that build business cases. So I literally was on a discovery call this morning with a sales leader. I came straight off of that. I got the transcript. I put it straight into my business case builder. And in 15 seconds, it's built the business case for me. I've copied and pasted it into a Google Doc and then just fine-tuned it a little bit. And that's ready to go. So just think about how you can build different custom GPTs that you might not want to build up the knowledge base, but you might want to just use them over and over again for different opportunities or situations. That's when they can be really, really helpful. Do you feed into this the context of your own business first? Sorry. Yeah, absolutely, mate. So a big part of like a lot of this stuff is actually just building out your documents. So like inside of the sales playbook, who's the ICP? What are the key personas? I call them champion personas. You know, what are they trying to achieve? Why can't they do it without us? How do we solve the problem? What's our unique differentiation? Where's our evidence? Like all of these different docs that you should have in your sales playbook at the moment. So I would just upload those, drag them in, and then I can leverage them just, you know, in a repeatable way. Hopefully that helps. Cool. All right. So if you guys want to follow along, so if everyone goes into ChatGPT for me, and then let me just see over here if I can get you the link as well, maybe. Okay, so let me see if I can drop this in the chat, see if it works for you guys. So if you just click on that link, does it take you to a page that looks a bit like this? Just give me a thumbs up. Yes, perfect. So in the top right corner, if you click on the create button for me. So apologies if anyone's done this before and I'm kind of teaching the basics here. I know there's a bunch of people that said they haven't, so I just want to cover this off. There's two ways to do this. When I first started doing it, I went into the create mode and I followed their kind of GPT builder. It's like I was building skill gap analysis, or I was building, you know, discovery coach, or whatever it might be, cold call script builder. And I was just going through it step by step, and it was easy to get going. The problem is you had to just keep prompting it over and over again, versus when you go into configure, you can just go into the instructions in here and you can document exactly what you want it to do. And then it just looks directly at this box when you run the exercise. So I would start with the create box first, unless you're doing something really simple like we're going to do today. But I just wanted to give you that, that insight. So I'm going to see if I can drop this into the chat here. So this is the text code basically that goes into the rapid research. Let's see if I can put this into the chat here. Okay, can you guys just try and do me a favor? Just try and copy and paste that into that box and see if that works for me. And then just give me a thumbs up or let me know if that works. Sam, Gemini, I think they call them gems. So when you're in the Gemini platform in the top left corner, I think they call them gems. I don't use Gemini too much, to be fair. I'm a big ChatGPT and Claude user, but yeah, see if that works. And one of my customers uses Google and they use gems, and most of this is transferable. All right, cool. How are we doing, guys? Has that allowed you to copy and paste that over? Yes. Okay, cool. Perfect. And then, look, just give it a name. Doesn't really matter. I just call mine rapid research. I just put a very basic description. Probably be helpful for your sales team if you're building it for them. Obviously, I've put learn more at our website because our customers use these. So it's just, again, an opportunity to direct people back to our website, but you don't have to put that in for yours. Paul, is the description in the chat above, hopefully? If you mean this part here, don't worry, but you have to put anything in here. This is the important part, is the instructions. And then conversation starter, I just put let's get started, but you can put whatever you want. Files, so it doesn't need it for this one, but like take my business case builder. In hours, I've uploaded a PDF version of our CFO ready business case template. So what does good look like in terms of format and examples? And then I've uploaded a huge file of me just talking into my microphone of what like a really good business case looks like, and how to write an executive summary, how to articulate problem and root cause, how to talk about business metrics, that kind of stuff. So think about the knowledge base as its brain. If you want it to really have good context and like really do a really good job, think about how you can feed this more information. Otherwise, it will solely rely on web search. And that's where sometimes it hallucinates and comes up with a load of rubbish, and we're like, this sucks. All right. So if you want to upload any files, you can do that. Maybe if it was doing discovery prep, maybe you'd upload like your medic playbook or whatever it might be. Okay. And then you should just hit a button that says like create or something like that up in the top right corner, and then you should be good to go. And if you want to share it with your team, you just click this share button. And if you don't want anyone to have access to it, make sure this is turned on. Only me. If you're happy to share it with your team or your customers or whatever it might be, have it here. If you want to promote it in the GPT store, I've never done this, but if you want to, go ahead. And then just, save, copy link, drop it into a Slack or a Teams chat with your salespeople and say, hey, I built this tool to save you a shitload of time when you're doing discovery research or, preparing for an outbound campaign. Give it a go. Can the knowledge base be linked to published Notion pages? I don't think so, mate. I think you need to have physical files, but I think in Notion you can download a page as a PDF or as a file. If not, I would just copy and paste that page into a Google Doc and upload it that way. Has anyone actually built theirs yet and published it? If you ran it, put in a job title and a company, just let me know if that works, just before I move on to the next thing. Awesome. Yes. Cool. Sweet. Give it a go. Anything you want to fine tune, you can do that. Like, the reason I haven't gone really specific in here is because we also give these to our customers. But if this one was just for me, like I've got a discovery prep and a business case builder that only I use. I've put a lot more meat on the bone inside of the instructions and inside of the files. So just something to think about. Maybe just test it out with the sales organization, and then when you want to really fine tune it, maybe clone this over having create a copy somewhere, duplicate GPT, and then do like a V2 so that you don't disrupt the one that your team are using, and then just think about how you can just pour more fuel on the fire. Really good. One of the ones that we've got is called Champion Messaging Builder. So it's basically, how do we pick up the phone and start running a campaign to, potential champions, and how do we talk their language? That one's got lots of steps. So the instructions are really, really big. It's like, first do this, then ask the sales rep if they want to do this. If they say yes, they want a video script. Use the context above, write the video script. Here's what good looks like. Step 3, write 5, discovery questions using spin selling. Here's what good looks like. Ask them if they would like that. If they say yes, run it. So you can do like multi-step in here. We've got some really, really complex ones, but they're super valuable. So just play around with like basic ones like this, and then just put yourself in your seller's shoes and just think about how you want to do that. Or we've got one for like CROs where there's like a forecast analyzer. You drop your forecast in, it groups it by forecast category, and then writes you like a 3 or 4 line talk track for the board to communicate where the risk is in that forecast, etc. So you can have like multi-step stuff that's really complex and advanced, and then you've got real basic stuff like this. Okay, cool. So we're talking about, like, I would call just like simple AI stuff that you can get for free or pay $20 a month for. ChatGPT, Prompt Cowboy's free. I'm using Claude a lot at the moment because I just like the way that it writes versus ChatGPT, but I think they're used for 2 different things personally. The next thing that I've been really, really geeking out over is Lovable. Has anyone built anything using Lovable? Let me know in the chat if you've built any kind of SaaS apps or websites or anything using Lovable yet. Nice. I'll check that out, Paul. That sounds cool. 50 to 500.biz. Really good. Cool. So I love it. So here's a really quick example of something that's quick and easy. So ROI calculators. So as we kind of go out and, pitch for business, we want to kind of help our champions and our customers put their best foot forward. So we want to help build ROI. And obviously we all know, right, like a lot of ROI has got kind of bad rep because like the numbers are just made up or just, silly examples. So what you can do in this is like build in evidence. So at the bottom of ours, we've got like a case study from a customer that's like growing their revenue 45% working with us, or their win rates up 75%. So you can, within Lovable, the difference to like a spreadsheet ROI calculator is you can just be like, hey, I want you to put this evidence in here. I want you to put these proof points in here, or I want you to embed this video, or whatever it might be, right? And then you literally just inside a Lovable, it's like ChatGPT or AI where you're prompting, so that you guys that have built it, you'll know. But you just be like, hey, I want you to build me an ROI calculator for our sales team to use that's interactive, so that we can, build a better business case, whatever it might be. And I can just upload that into Lovable, go and make a cup of coffee, and come back and it'll be done. And it looks pretty good straight out the gates. And then with this one, I literally just did that. And I was like, okay, here's our logo, here's our font, here's our brand colors, good to go. And then, like, again, I said to you guys in like when I was promoting this webinar, these are the things that I use. Like, I use this all of the time when in the sales process. So when I come off a discovery call now with a sales leader and we're about to go into like a scoping and business case creation process, I send this over to them. And then I ask them to fit it into like how many opportunities per rep per year. They kind of update this slider bar. It's interactive. What's your current win rate at the moment? How many reps have you got? What's your average deal size? What's a typical training investment look like? And then what it does is gives them best case and worst case projections on what good could look like. So this basically looks at the best case that we have evidence of generating for B2B sales teams. And then this one looks at absolute worst case. If it's an absolute nightmare of a program over those 6 months and we only move the needle by 10%, what would that look like? And I get them to click this share button, and I just ask them to email that back to me, and they email it back to me, and I take those data points, I put it into the business case, and we use it all of the time. And we're pretty much winning every deal that we go into now, because we're giving them a best case and a worst case, and it's backed by evidence to support it. And we're asking our champion to get involved in the process. And it just feels like a bit of a cheat code for us at the moment, and it's definitely something I'd recommend that you guys exploring, is like interactive ROI calculators. So really, really simple. Another example is this mega platform I'm building. So again, if any of you guys don't follow me, I'm a medic seller. All of my sales leadership roles, I implemented Medic, and now one of our most popular programs that we run with sales orgs is Medic. And if you think about Medic as decision criteria, or you think about selling in generally, if you don't use Medic, there is requirements and things that your champion or your prospects organization is qualifying you on. We're qualifying them on business impact, problems, that kind of stuff. They're looking at us. Do you have that Slack integration? Can we bidirectionally sync data between our platform and Salesforce, whatever it might be, right? So what I want to do is, rather than like spending a load of time on a discovery meeting talking about technical capability, what I did is I built this feature inside of this platform that we're building, where you can send I call it decision criteria capture. And you basically just send this over to your prospect. In the back end, you just put in the different types of criterias and requirements, and then you send it over to them. And then they come in here and go, well, if we're going to run a program with James, we want to make sure there's MedPick training. We want to make sure that it covers the full sales cycle, because we're struggling with top of funnel and then, stuff throughout the funnel. We want to make sure this training is personalized to our business. We know that we're under-resourced in sales leadership, so we'd love to have like some coaching that goes with it. And we want there to be reinforcement, because we know that salespeople forget things pretty quick. So they basically click these things, and as they come down, it builds this table. And then they basically just go, this is critical, this is high, this is more of a nice to have, I think, and then this is really, really important. And then what are the business outcomes? And then when they've done, they just basically put in their details and submit those requirements, and that comes over to me. I don't have a sales engineering team and don't need one, but if I did, I would sit down with those guys. Or if I was selling something without a sales engineering team, I would just look at that and go, right, I need to build the demo path around these things. So when I'm going into my demo, I need to be satisfying these things in terms of order importance, and these are the outcomes. And if there's lack of outcomes connected to some of these things, either my job is to influence those, right? Especially if they're like differentiation, I can start to rig the game and make life really hard for competitor AEs. Or if it's something that a competitor does and we don't, and there's no business outcome, for example, we would like to have a Slack integration, and I say, hey, got it, I understand why you'd want that. Can you help me understand how that's going to impact the success of this project? And they can't really communicate that. My gut tells me it's probably not that important, right? So it might help me undo something that somebody else is trying to do in terms of decision criteria. So like think about little tools that you can use throughout the sales process, not just like when you're live in a call. I think there's good value in like how do we actually interact with our prospects in between meetings through ROI calculators, little tools like this, building the business case. For anyone that's interested, like in this big platform I've built, like imagine like all of the big technology company sales tools that you use in your business. I vibe coded all of those into this one app. I'm getting close to kind of sharing a bit more. I'm just going to get checked by a couple of our cybersecurity customers we work with. But I take Vidyard, for example. That's one of the capabilities we built. I built Vidyard in this platform in like 7 or 8 minutes. So like just really think about when you're going out and buying technology for your sales organization, have you tried building it in Lovable first? Because you can get rid of all of the bloat that you might get when you buy an off-the-shelf product. It'll be a hell of a lot cheaper and it'll be way more customized to the exact situation or what you need it to do. Like the Vidyard thing, I can literally just go in there and either do a selfie video and send it to a prospect if I was doing like top of funnel activity. Or if I wanted to record a video doing like a mini demo and put that into my business case, I can do screen capture or like just screen recorder, whatever it might be. And then I can send the URL that goes over to the prospect. And then I get analytics that they've been in to watch the video, how long they've watched, that kind of thing. So it's pretty similar to Vidyard. And like to Paul's point there, he built a website for £22 in 45 minutes. Super, super effective. And it's just like thinking outside of the box, being genuinely curious about AI, not just going into ChatGPT and doing a really generic prompt, but how can we actually like build technology, sales apps or sales tools or systems for our salespeople to be more effective, so that if we can't recruit as many people as we need to, well, we think we need to, we can actually just enable them to go and do the job in a more effective way. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover with you guys today. Don't know if you guys have got any questions. That's kind of the end of my piece. Here, there's a bunch of other things that I could kind of talk to you about all day long because I just love this stuff and we use a lot for our business. But again, I also don't want to overwhelm you. So yeah, I've got plenty of time. If you guys got a bunch of questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. Also, let me know, was that helpful? Happy to do a bunch of these. We used to do a load of them last year and then just got really busy with Q4, but want to do a bit more. All right, thanks for listening to this episode. I've got something else I want to give you before we wrap up here. So we've built the leading skill optimization platform with 400 plus sales lessons, 12 courses from prospecting all the way through to late stage deal negotiation and more, one-to-one sales coaching and AI sales assistance. And I want to give you 7 days free access to the platform. The reason I want to do this is because nobody gets a degree in B2B sales. And after training and coaching hundreds of sales reps and teams in the last 2 years, most haven't mastered critical selling skills. And it's preventing them from being promoted, earning great money, and building a great career in B2B sales. So go to therevenueenabler.com, grab a free trial, and join hundreds of salespeople that are closing their skill gaps and mastering sales. There's a link in the video description. I'm looking forward to getting you set up. Give me a shout with any questions.